right, ladies and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep, they're in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Shawn Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Shawn Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
ETM Hotel, Rennie, Shawn, welcome in peace. My name is Shawn. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to Science with Shawn. It's the opening day for the channel. Like I said on the Massa Warrior Clan, I did this because YouTube was striking content based on the actual title of the video. So there's two presentations that I'm gonna redo that'll be on this, and I'm gonna see if it's the title. I don't want to get the channel any strikes because of the titles. However, y'all already see what's in the title. It's Science with Shawn. We're going to build on the science each show. So it's not just going to be this, that, or the third. We're going to actually have some nice little information that we will get into. We will see if we are all learning. Notice I say if we are all learning. And we're going to be able to take a better look at approaching the field of science and what it brings to our community and how we can utilize it to solve some real life, real world scenarios. So I'd like to thank again all the people in the audience that have tuned in, and those of you who will be joining later or catching the preview. Please do me a favor, like the show, share the show. This is the first episode, and no, it's not a lot of people on or involved in this. So we're going to go ahead and get the numbers up. You know, you might see some people come and join, and I from time to time, and we're going to see. I am working with a brother right now that is studying mosquitoes. I'm not going to tell you his name, but the brother is on his business. You can't post the news right now. Okay. And it looks like I can't post in the anybody group right now due to Facebook. So I'm a little restricted on that end of that too. So we're going to get to it. Just bear with me a moment. I don't know who that is. I'm sharing the show on my thing and see if that's cool. All right, so I can only post on my own stuff. I can't post in no group. Even if I'm the admin, I can't post. I'm temporarily blocked. All right, let's see what we got in the chat, man. I know I seen Garfield. What up? I see Kofi in here. What's good? Dave B. Rashad, peace. I know there's some other people that'll be tuning in. I'm trying to spare just a moment or two, so I want to go ahead and want to let y'all know, man, we got some new merch that we just dropped on the Family Connect Apparel, which is in the description. Check that out. We also have, this is our 1-year anniversary of the release of Spears of the Mossy Volume 1. And what else we got going on? What up, number one pseudo? And we also got, you know what I'm saying, some up and coming information and content that we'll be providing you guys with. We also got you know, same tree, different branch, which is pretty much, you know what I mean, a publishing company. So now we'll be able to publish people's books, magazines, artwork, multitude of things, book covers, putting book covers together, editing books, all of those things. So look out for that, man. You know, support us. We're just trying to continue to build and develop in areas where we can actually help people who want to get into this writing thing and do things for themselves on that level. Yeah, so we got a bunch of that going on, man. So what I'm gonna do is this the kickoff show. Give me a second, cause I gotta send this to somebody who wanted it. I gotta text it to them. And this ain't no slight on anybody, but man, we really need to get into knowing what we're talking about before we really start talking about it. So yeah, straight like that. Please like the show. Please share the show. I cannot share the show. It's opening day. I can't share the show. Facebook telling me no. So all I can do is just post it and then we move on. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And let's see what we can learn today. All right, so today we're going to learn what science is, defining science, and we're going to deal with it from the perspective of the basics. Sometimes you have to go back to the basics in order to learn more. And deal with it from that nature. Where my brother at? All right. So that'll be that. Yeah, of course, we all in Facebook jail, but let's continue. You can share it on your Facebook wall. What up, Rondé? Peace to you, bro. All right, so I am going to put the copyright disclaimer on every presentation, even if I don't share a video. But copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Our topic of the day will deal with the introduction, research questions, hypothesis, conclusion, and of course the sources. The intro. In this lecture, we will discuss the root of many social media arguments and proper understanding of the basics of what is science, among a few other things. I seriously believe that many of us have no proper understanding for what is science, which scientific field we're talking about, and how to properly utilize science and much more. We seek to utilize the Science with Shawn series as an opportunity to help educate and inspire people to be more scientifically literate. That's the goal of the channel. Research questions. What is science? Is science one field of study? Does science provide tools to answer real world phenomena? And what is scientific evidence? My hypothesis. For most people unfamiliar with science, one would assume that no one really has a true understanding of science. We can see this demonstrated on social media daily if we review a lot of Facebook or Instagram posts that promote unscientific data. An example of this would be the use of astrology on a post where people will use the months, days, or moon to determine your mood or if you're personally connected with another human being. Another example would be claiming a person cured herpes, AIDS, diabetes, etc. Based on the two examples used, I am of the belief that people are very unfamiliar with science and the different fields of science that exist. I also believe that people do not understand how science works or how to utilize the tools science provides to answer questions to things that need to be solved in a real world scenario. People often confuse one's feelings about an incident to be considered as evidence, which causes further distractions, which lead to a majority concerns among our people. Hold on. Okay. All right. So, what is science? In short, science is a tool used to help answer questions that exist in a certain field of study. It requires you to know and to do. I say to know because you have to be familiar with the field of study, and to do because you have to apply what you know to be able to answer questions related to that field of study. For example, if we are to understand if vaccines work or not, we will have to know about viruses first and how they behave among us. We would also need to know about the different types of viruses, which viruses are harmful or harmless. Then we would need to know how those viruses affect the human body and how we can prevent that from happening. And in order to prevent infection and the spread of that virus, we could begin testing vaccines in a controlled setting and determine its safety and effectiveness before administering the vaccine in a non-controlled environment. All right. Science is both a body of knowledge and a process. In school, science may sometimes seem like a collection of isolated and static facts listed in a textbook, but that's only a small part of the story. Just as important as science is also a process of discovery that allows us to link isolated facts into a coherent, comprehensive understanding of our natural world. Science generates solutions for everyday life and helps to answer the great mysteries of the universe. In other words, science is one of the most important channels of knowledge. It has a specific role as well as a variety of functions for the benefit of our society, creating new knowledge, improving education, and increasing the quality of lives. Science is a systemic and logical approach to discovering how things in the universe work. It is also the body of knowledge accumulated through the discoveries about all the things in the universe. Now, is science one field of study? In short, no. It's many different fields of science, and they are all worthy of knowing because each field helps answer questions about the real world and the universe we are surrounded by. For example, geography would not be able to answer questions related to chemistry because they are in different fields of study. Just like zoology would not be able to answer questions related to geology. Fields of science are defined as widely recognized categories of specialized expertise within science. The various forms of science can often be divided into broad subdivisions such as life sciences, physical sciences, and earth sciences. While there's a lot of overlap between the sciences, knowing the difference between each type is essential for building science students. So yeah, some fields of science right here: math, physics, astronomy, chemical physics, chemistry, geochemistry, and we'll continue. All right, so the field of sciences, you have formal sciences, which are, branches of knowledge that are connected with math and logic, right? An example of that is metrology, the science of measurement; logic, the formal study of principles of inference and correct reasoning. Then you have natural sciences, which are botany, ecology, etymology, ichnology, and zoology. Also biology. You also have chemistry and physics. All right. Now you have earth sciences as well. And inside of earth sciences, you have crystallology, geology, hydrology, meteorology, mineralogy, oceanography, paleontology, petrology, and seismology, and volcanology, right? Dealing with the world, the natural world. All right. We also have engineering and technology. So you have mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. You have medical and health sciences like anatomy, genetics, cardiology, immunology, medicine, and nutrition. You also have agriculture sciences like forestry, social sciences like psychology, humanities like anthropology, archaeology, cartography, linguistics, and geotology. Now, does science provide tools to answer real-world phenomena? Yes. Science uses a method that allows the fields to test over and over in an attempt to falsify the evidence. This tool is called a scientific method, and within this method are instructions that one must follow in order to to obtain empirical evidence. If it cannot be measured and tested or not repeatable, one cannot conclude that the evidence provided is sound. For example, sorry about the typos. If I told you that a rock or a crystal would bring you tremendous wealth, money, what evidence could I actually provide that was measurable and testable to conclude that? None. It is not measurable or testable. You can purchase the rock or crystal, but it does not bring you wealth, then I lied. That is not how science works. Now, if I told you that if you shake up a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola and unscrew the top, it will explode. We can test that and measure it over and over, replicating that result. The study of scientific method is an attempt to discern the activities by which that success is achieved. Among the activities often identified as characteristics of science are systemic observation and experimentation, inductive and deductive reasoning, and the formation and testing of hypotheses and theories. How these are carried out in detail can vary greatly, but characteristics like these have been looked to as a way of demarcating scientific activity from non-science, where only enterprise which employs some mechanical form of scientific method or methods could be considered science. Scientific methods should be distinguished from the aims of products of science, such as knowledge, predictions, or control. Methods are the means by which goals are achieved. Scientific methods should also be distinguished from meta-methodology, which includes the values and justifications behind a particular characterization of scientific method, i.e. methodology. Values such as objective reproducibility, simplicity, or past successes. Methodological rules are proposed to govern method, and it is a methodological question whether methods obeying those rules satisfy given values. Finally, method is distinct to some degree from the detailed and contextual practices through which methods are implemented. The latter might range over specific laboratory techniques, mathematical formulations, or other specialized languages used in descriptions or reasoning. Technological or other material means ways of communicating and sharing results, whether with scientists or with the public at large, or the convention habits, enforce customs, and institutional controls over how and what science is carried out. When conducting research, scientists use a scientific method to collect measurable empirical evidence in an experiment related to a hypothesis, often in the form of an if-then statement, the results aiming to support or contradict a theory. So the steps in the scientific method is you making an observation or observations, ask questions about the observations and gather information, form your hypothesis, which is a description or educated guess, where you can make predictions based on, like how I started in the presentation. You could test it and predictions in an experiment that can be reproduced. The testing would be in the form of this particular presentation would be the social media would be your test subjects, right? You can put out a question right there, like simply we can, like if I said vaccines, we go look at vaccines, I can pull up all the data on social media showing you all the misinformation about vaccines. That would, that would be a method, a form of a method used in order to, come to an honest conclusion about the intelligence level of people and their understanding of vaccine science. Anyway, we also can do like polls and things of that nature that you can provide in your to test your hypothesis and your predictions in your experiment so you can reproduce them over and over. Now, but that'll be a different type of a method that will be used. Now, analyze the data and draw conclusions, accept or reject the hypothesis or modify the hypothesis if necessary. And then you'll reproduce the experiment until there is no discrepancies between observation and theory. That's just repeating it over and over and over and over again. Now, I mentioned some different types of methodology that actually can be used. And that comes in the form of either quantitative or qualitative, which we'll talk about earlier, but I didn't want to exhaust it because there's books out there and some other information that may lead into a further discussion that I wanted to get into. So I didn't want to compile everything in here. All right, so science rock. Now, so what is scientific evidence? Scientific evidence is empirical evidence, which, as mentioned earlier, that's replicable and measurable and have been heavily scrutinized. Since science job is to falsify evidence, one can honestly conclude from failed attempt that this evidence is substantial law. Many people confuse laws, theories, and hypotheses up all the time. Most arguments exist because people do not understand the difference between a hypothesis, a theory, and law. If the evidence is empirical, it's law. If the evidence continues to add new information, it's a theory, not if it's a theory. And if a statement is made for the purpose of observation, it's a hypothesis. And no attempted experiment has yet to be conducted to advance it into a theory or a law. So a hypothesis requires more work. Before any pieces of empirical data are collected, scientists carefully design their research methods to ensure the accuracy, quality, and integrity of the data. This is important because when you're doing research, you want to gather enough information. Then you have to carefully design your method, your research method. The tools that are used to design your research method, if you find any bias in that, your research crumbles because you immediately started from a biased perspective. You have to remove all biases from the get-go with your research and start from scratch. If there are flaws in the way the empirical data is collected, the research will not be considered valid. Scientific method often involves lab experiments that are repeated over and over. So I'm going to tell you right now, you can start a process and you can guess the results. Just because you guess right doesn't mean your work is right. You have to demonstrate. That's why demonstration beats conversation. Now, the scientific method often involve lab works, experiments that are repeated over and over, and these experiments result in quantitative data in the form of numbers and statistics. However, that is not the only process used for gathering information to support or refute a theory. Empirical evidence includes measurements or data collected through direct observation or experiment, says Jamie Tanner, professor of biology at Marlborough College in Vermont. There are two research methods, which you heard me mention above, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative research, often used in social sciences, examines the reasons behind human behavior, according to Oklahoma State University. It involves data that can be found using human senses. This type of research is often done in the beginning of an experiment. Quantitative research involves methods that are used to collect numerical data and analyze it using statistical methods. According to it, University of Copenhagen, quantitative numerical data can be any data that uses measurements, including mass, size, or volume. According to Midwestern State University in Wichita, Texas, this type of research is often used at the end of an experiment to refine and test the previous research. Empirical, anecdotal, or logical evidence should not be confused. They are separate type of evidence that can be used to try to prove or disprove an idea or claim. Logical evidence is used, proven or disprove an idea using logic. Deductive reasoning may be used to come to a conclusion to provide logical evidence. For example, all men are mortal. Harold is a man, therefore Harold is mortal. Anecdotal evidence consists of stories that have been experienced by a person that are told to prove or disprove a point. For example, many people have told stories about their alien abductions to prove that aliens exist. Often, a person's anecdotal evidence cannot be proven or disproven. Therefore, you really don't want to use it. Conclusion. Based on the definition of science, we can conclude that science requires you to know and to apply what you know to answer real-world questions in the universe. Anything outside the universe realm would not be measurable or testable according to the method used to arrive at the scientific theory or law. That would mean a lot of conversations on social media begin and end with a hypothesis, in most cases causing one to only speculate based on a lack of evidence to support the claims we see on a daily basis. We can also conclude that science is an overall body of intricate fields of study. Each field of study sets out to answer its own questions it has generated in the field which it serves. As used in the example earlier, health sciences cannot answer earth sciences, and agricultural sciences can't answer social sciences. So we need to make sure regarding the field of study, we are properly using the tools science provides to come to an honest conclusion. Sources. Brand, the families. Brand. We're at it again. I see we got some more people in the building, man. I'm not gonna hold much of y'all up. I wanted to kind of keep this brief. I know I'm 26 minutes in. This is the introduction video. I will be back later on the Masa Warrior Clan, and we're going to get into some things. So I want to keep this bite size as an introduction video, going over what science is, what it isn't, and all the other things that are related in the field of that. Before we go, I see Chavis in here, Sutek in the building. ATL was good. Lamar was good. Zane was good. Yeah. Let me see who. Yep. Everybody else I already shout out, man. So I appreciate everybody who tuned into the show. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please like the show, share the show, subscribe to the channel. Help us build the channel up. It is day one. I'm gonna keep this bite size and in the loop. Tune into the Masa Warrior Clan later. We're gonna have a brief build. Peace, brother Fitz. I wanted to make sure that I did keep this bite size and that we are cool with that. I also want to share some new intel with you. Like I said, it's our anniversary of Spits of the Masa. Support it. It's still available. The link to all the books and things, the clothing line and all of that is in the description of this particular video. This is the intro video to Science with Shawn. And I thank all of y'all for tuning in.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Masi Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harek Shawn Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harek Shawn Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.